Welcome to the Upside Down Kingdom.
Hey there, welcome to the sermon preview for this week here with Dennis Berkey today. So Dennis is going to be bringing the sermon this week. Really excited to see what God has for you for your preparation and for the sermon on Sunday. So we're continuing on in our Sermon on the Mount series, Upside Down Kingdom. And what scripture are we going to be in this week?
So we're looking at Matthew 7, verses 7 through 11, not verse 12.
Not verse 12. So verse 12 is going to be on its own the following week. Going to be, a different kind of sermon on that, I suppose. But anyway, so 7 through 11 in chapter 7 here. So Dennis, as we're looking at this passage, what are some things that maybe we need to know?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a familiar passage, and we've all heard the ask, seek, and knock, kind of thing. We see it again in Mark as well. The mindset is that these are action verbs. These are present tense verbs. So, Jesus is looking at his disciples as well as us today and concerned about their growth, their spiritual growth. He wants us to pursue who God is on a daily basis. And so asking, seeking, knocking, just that active pursuit of who God is.
Yeah. So there's it requires action. It's not passive by any means. So I guess then for us in our everyday lives, we have to figure out a little bit of what does it mean for us to ask, seek, knock, because it's probably going to look a little bit different for every person.
Sure.
There's probably themes that flow through for everybody, but it probably looks different on a person by person basis. But so Dennis, on this idea of ask, seek, knock, how or in what situations maybe have you seen where the church or followers of Jesus have maybe abused this or misunderstood it, maybe might be a better way to say it?
Well, I think, when you look at the passage as a whole, Jesus here, again, he uses situations that most people know. So it's like going to ask your parents for something. I mean, I know my parents love them like crazy. Didn't always give me everything I asked.
Right.
And there's a reason for that.
Right.
And so it talks about, our Father and that he gives good gifts.
Yeah.
The idea is that a lot of times people have looked at this and said, hey, I can ask for anything.
Yeah.
I remember when I was young, I used to pray like crazy for a mini bike. I wanted a mini bike so bad, and I couldn't figure out, I'm praying, why am I not getting it? But then you start to realize that God is not some genie. Or
genie in a bottle.
As one of the commentaries said, he's not a cosmic vending machine.
You can't put a couple prayers in the slot and get punch in the numbers.
Because again, the main thing is that his will is perfect.
Right.
He knows what's best for all of us, even though what's best for Nick might be a little different for me or somebody else. But he knows the ramifications that we can't even fathom.
Right.
So again, that's why it talks about, not giving stones and snakes and that kind of stuff. He's not going to give any of us stuff that is going to harm us any way possible.
Right. So if we're asking for something specific from God and we're not receiving it, we know that is still the best for us because what God gives us or doesn't give us is always good.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know, just like your parents, my parents, all of our parents, God our Father wants us to come to him. He delights in us coming to him. He's not going to, don't just go and say, well, I'm going to ask for this, but I'm not going to get it. Whatever. He wants us to express our hearts, our thoughts to him. And, sometimes he may grant that, but it's in his timing.
That's right.
In his will.
Right.
And I know for Dennis, patience is something that I need to pray more for.
Sure. Yeah. Well, looking forward to what God has for us on Sunday. Dennis, as people are preparing for this, obviously reading through this passage, what's maybe an idea for them to reflect on?
Yeah, I think a couple things you can look at is, number one is, am I passionately pursuing God? Who he is daily. And maybe even the idea of the concept of knocking. When you go to knock, you're not sure what's going to happen on the other side of the door. So I look at that opportunity. Maybe is God calling you for some new opportunity, and
Yeah.
are you answering that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, those would be the two things I would look at: is how you passionately pursue God daily, and is God giving you some new
Yeah.
opportunities that He'd like you to be a part of?
Yeah, yeah, I love that. This idea of passionately pursuing God, because the more that we pursue Him, the more the things that we're asking and knocking for actually do align with His will.
You betcha. You betcha.
And so I wonder even, I guess my hunch, and I don't want to steal any thunder or anything like this, if this is the direction you're going, but my hunch is in this asking, seeking, knocking, it's again just more of this idea of our heart aligning with His heart as opposed to us trying to get what we want.
Sure.
But it's more like I want what you want, God. And then in that, we know that God gives good gifts.
Sure.
In that. So anyway, looking forward to Sunday. I hope you are as well, and you as well. We'll see you then.
All right. Bye.
In his upside down kingdom, the king laid down his crown for the cross. He chose to give his life for the lost and the broken souls. He's coming to take us home.